A woodworker's journey is made possible by the generous support of people like you. Please go to our Patreon page at www.patreon.com/AELLC to become a friend of the show. Without you, we would not be able to create this fine program. Thank you, and I hope you enjoyed today's episode. Baruch Hashem, and welcome to another episode of A Woodworker's Journey. Today, we're going to do something a little bit different. Today, we are going to do a repair. Over at my Masonic lodge, we were practicing ritual when the person who was filling in as master at the time wrapped the gavel per ritual. But when they wrapped it, they hit it, and then this piece came off. Now, this gavel has been needed to be repaired for quite some time because before this happened, as you can see here, the handle is really quite loose. It comes out, and this really needed to be re-glued. Now, this gavel does have sentimental value to the lodge. It is handcrafted by a brother. I'm guessing it's at least 50 years old. You can see here that the square and compass is hand carved into the head. The G is hand carved into the head. Looks like it's walnut. But because of the sentimental value, I need to try and be careful. So what we're going to use today is Titebond Quick and Thick. One of the key advantages to this glue is that it dries clear. That's what it says. I have to be careful about glue squeeze out because I can't just sand it and refinish it. I don't know what type of finish this was, and I want to try not to have to sand it all down and refinish it. I want it to keep its beautiful patina. Titebond is not a sponsor. This is just what I picked up from Rockler, also not a sponsor. We're going to give this a try and we'll see if this works. In order for me to prevent any glue squeeze out, I'm going to go ahead and use this painter's tape, and I'm going to wrap it around the handle and the gavel head so that it can catch any glue squeeze out that happens to come out. While this handle is loose, it does stick in certain areas inside the gavel head, so it takes some finagling to actually get it out. You will notice that when the person originally made this handle, they put a split in the center there and wedged it into the top. Obviously, over time, the wood and the glue has shrunk, and that what resulted into a loose handle as the gavel was wrapped multiple times over the years. Here I am going to be using the Rockler glue brush and that little spade on the back. I have been finding that this brush, silicone brush, is very, very useful for just about all of my glue ups. When I finished gluing up the handle part there, I sort of lost track of exactly which side the handle was supposed to go into the head. And so you'll see me here trying to figure out exactly which orientation the handle is supposed to be in. When I finally committed onto which side, I noticed that actually it was not seated correctly. So I had to pull it back out here and then seat it correctly. These blue rags were pre-soaked with some water. They were nice and damp, and so I used that to help clean off some of the glue squeeze out that occurred. And now it is time to start prepping the top of the head of the gavel so that that piece that broke off can now be glued on. I'm taking the piece that broke off and I am fitting it onto the gavel head. I need to try and make sure that it seats just right so that it is seamless. So I'm just doing a dry fit right here, just trying to make sure that it can still indeed seat properly. I am ripping some pieces of the painter's tape in advance to be used as clamps for the glue up. I was a little nervous here because I was taking the painter's tape and putting it right over where the glue seam was. I was really hoping and praying that the glue would not stick to the tape and that I would have difficulty taking the tape off after the glue up was done. We'll find out whether or not my fears were realized or not. It is the next day, and I let this sit overnight. Let's take off the painter's tape and see what we have. As you can see, it looks like that the glue dried clear as advertised, and it's looking pretty good. Let's see how the piece glued onto the top to see if it's flush. I'm also making sure to see that, yes, indeed, the glue did not adhere to the tape as I had feared that it would. It came off quite easily, which is nice. And once again, the glue did dry clearly, so you did not see any glue squeeze out on the gavel head, as you can see here as I'm taking the tape off. Here is the final product. I think it worked out pretty well. There is no noticeable glue seam, and unless you're really looking for it, I think you're not really going to notice the line too much. So I call that mission accomplished. We hope you enjoyed today's episode. Please tell your friends about us. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel and like and comment on this video. A Woodworker's Journey is brought to you by the generous support of people like you. You can support this program by going to our Patreon page at www.patreon.com/AELLC to become a friend of the show. We could not do this without you. Thank you for your time, and I hope you found today's episode entertaining.